So here are our chicken cutlets, boneless chicken cutlets. Remember, the first recipe has split bone in. So how does this recipe go together? Well, let me show you. First, we're going to coat the chicken in some flour. We want a little bit of salt. I like to do this in a plastic bag because this keeps things clean. And when you're dealing with raw chicken, what are we going to do? Always wash our hands before we touch something else. So there's the salt, there's the pepper. We're going to add some grated nutmeg. This dish is more in the northern Italian tradition. So a little bit of nutmeg goes in. Now, we just shake that up. Make sure that's all mixed. And there is the last one. Now we can get rid of that. And we want to brown these pieces. We want to put our chicken pieces in. So we want to brown those on both sides. I'm using light olive oil for this, but if you wanted to use something else, you could. You could use a vegetable oil. And there is our last piece. So we're going to let that go. Just cut them in half. For this dish, we're just cutting them in half. So there are our mushrooms. I'm going to put them in there after I take out the chicken. And then along with this, we want to have some cheese. And here we have a Fontina. Fontina comes from the Val d'Aosta. This is a great melting cheese. And that's why it's good for this recipe, because this chicken dish is going to finish in the oven with some of this Fontina, this really delicate tasting cow's milk cheese from the Val d'Aosta in northern Italy. So we just want to cut it up into small pieces. It is sticky. And you're going to put this on before we put this in the oven. So there is our cheese. Let me just take that little piece off there. So there's the cheese. We're going to set that aside. All right, I think we can take that chicken out now. So into a greased casserole, you take your pieces and just put them in the dish. And in this pan, we're going to add some butter now. This is a very elegant dish, as I said. All right, so there's the breasts. And now we add a little bit of unsalted butter. So a little unsalted butter goes in, because now we're going to cook our mushrooms. So get the butter in, and then you add your mushrooms. You take that paper off. Mushrooms should never be kept in plastic, always in paper. So that when you buy them in plastic containers in the store, bring them home, take them out, put them in a brown paper bag. There go our mushrooms. And now we have to let these cook down a little bit. We're going to give that a little bit of salt and a little bit of pepper. We're going to let that cook until those mushrooms are somewhat wilted. All right, while they're cooking down, we have cream. Here we have a cup of heavy cream, and we just want to heat that slowly with the cheese. Does this sound good or what? So we're going to put the cheese, the Fontina, right in here on low heat, and we're going to allow that to melt. That's going to be our sauce. So we just allow this to melt down. I'm going to turn this down, and those mushrooms are going to go right over the top of this. But before I do that, I want to add some of the prosciutto di Parma, now that I'm talking to you about it. So you can cut this up into half pieces if you want, or you can just layer it on the chicken as whole pieces. It's going to add great flavor. So let's see, let's get this one. And you want to make sure that when you're buying prosciutto di Parma, that you see that nice line of white fat along the edges. That's another telltale sign that this is a wonderful cheese, or a wonderful ham, rather. All right, so there is the prosciutto. And now we're going to take this. mushrooms right over the top. Okay, then we want the cream. Now that it's really melted, I'm gonna have to clean the stove after this. So now we have this beautiful melted combo of cheese and cream. And I know what you're thinking. So this goes over the top, just like that. Isn't that beautiful? And look, didn't even scorch the pan. Okay, that's great. That's over the top. Now we add some of these tomatoes, beautiful tomato slices. This is a great company dish. Tomatoes over the top. And then the last thing, let's put one more tomato there, is the Parmigiano Reggiano sprinkled over the top. Okay, in the oven it goes.